I'm Counselormsvee, and this is the Ask the Counselor show. Today, we're going to be talking about relationships. I have two special guests with me today, Jay West, and the other guest her name is Andrea. And it's going to be an exciting show, so sit still and stay tuned.
What's more dangerous? A man who isn't afraid of death or one who's found everything to live for? I asked him if he was proud of me. He emphatically said yes, as he laid his pecan-colored head on my chest, and I went through my mind 1,000 times to figure out what that could possibly mean, and every single example ended in motivation for me. So you may not be afraid to die, but I'm more afraid to let them down. And I found something to live for, which is a dangerous motive forever fueled. See, your thoughts may be involuntary, but my actions are very calculated. I was a man with a plan, but now I'm a dad with a decree, and you can't take that from me. My sons ain't raised by no coward, and they won't be one either. If this be the measure of a man, the yardstick gonna need way more meters. I take it too far, so they never come up short, because I found everything to live for.
I feel like her heartbeat is like same speed as mine, and I think we have this like deep connection, this heart connection in her heart, that there's room for me and mom. When I'm holding her, it makes me feel calmer. It's a sensory thing. It's a thing with Asperger's.
She's really good with Anya. I've seen adults react to my daughter when she has meltdowns, like she's from a different planet. And this little animal just sat next to my child and was just like, it's gonna be cool. She's my superhero.
Good job, kitty cat.
When we adopted Lucky, we discovered all the wonderful things that make her unique.
Lucky's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly she's pure love.
Hi, everybody. Today, I'm going to be talking about relationships, and I have my two special guests with me. The first is Jay West. He's going to give us a male perspective on things. Jay West is in his 20s, and he's going to give us, like I said, a male perspective on things. And then I have my other guest, Andrea, and she's in her 30s, and she's going to give us a female perspective on things and relationships. So when we talk about relationships, it's very many characteristics of relationships, such as communication, right? Values, intimacy, trust. Another big thing is love, forgiveness. So what do you guys want to start off with?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think. What you recommend?
Trust.
Oh, yeah, that's good. We start with trust.
Yeah.
Trust.
How do you, when you first meet somebody and then you build a relationship and then you build trust, so how do you build trust?
You want to start it off?
Yeah, I can start it off. That's cool. Building trust obviously is very important. I feel like building trust is like the foundation. Mm-hmm. So I feel like off rip, you should come into it with all honesty.
Yes.
Just be real at all times. Don't fake it.
Right.
It's what people don't know is what hurt them.
Right. Yeah.
To kind of piggyback, I think we have the same type of mindset when it comes to that, because I like transparency, an open book. If you're open, you're also giving your partner the choice to either deal with your flaws and all, or keep it moving because they can't deal with it. So if you're open and honest about it, it's just an easier platform for the foundation to build your relationship up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what if something happens in a relationship and you break that trust, or someone breaks that trust? How important is it to try to rebuild it? And is it possible to rebuild it? Because that's sometimes that's a deal breaker. If you can't rebuild trust, then sometimes people have to part ways. But what are some of the things that you can do to rebuild the trust?
Well, for me, I would say like it depends on the person if they even accept you back. You gotta start there, because like some people was like, nah, you break it once, that's it.
Yeah.
Then you got some people who's willing, like, okay, you can earn it back, and here's how. So then that kind of goes into communication. So you gotta tell them how could they. That's my take on it.
Yeah. But sometimes and give or take, it is very difficult to rebuild trust, especially when you break that trust. Sometimes people will have a hard time trusting you again, and you have to, if you are going to rebuild trust, you're going to have to forgive whatever issues that you had in the past, and just work on those and move forward, right? So that, I guess, that kind of ties us into the next one, which is forgiveness. How important
She gotta start that way.
Forgiveness is definitely a big thing, because if somebody does break the trust, you can't keep blaming the person for the same thing over and over again. You either going to forgive them and move forward, or you can't forgive them and part your ways. But you can't keep blaming and punishing the person for the same mistake over and over again. That's not going to right. It's a two-way street. If they're working towards fixing the trust, you have to work towards the forgiveness aspect of it.
Yeah.
And you can't agree to try to fix it, and then like what she just said, and then still be like reminiscing off the old stuff, like
rehashing it.
Yeah, trying to go back and stuff.
Remember you did this, and remember you did that. Yeah.
So it's either you gonna let it go or you're not.
Yeah, and it's very important. That is one. Being a counselor and in the counseling field, and when I talk to couples or when I talk to people in regards to relationships, that usually is a deal breaker. I can't trust her, I can't trust him, and then, it's other issues that come around that. That's why they can't move forward with it, and the relationship usually ends. So, yeah, that's a big thing. What about communication? I think that's a big one,
that's
too.
That's a huge one. Communication is key. If you can't communicate and tell somebody how you feel, what your emotions are, and then that's not going to work, because your feelings and your emotions and yours are not getting met if you're not talking about it. Talk about the issues. Talk about the hard stuff. If you don't have no communication, your relationship isn't going to go anywhere.
Right.
I would have to say too, like, I think communication, people don't like to communicate because they feel like, oh, I'm going to lose the person.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes you got to get to a point you're going to be like, look, whether you like it or not, I didn't like when you said this to me.
Right.
Because sometimes, I used to think it was corny when people used to be like, oh, I didn't know I did something wrong. But sometimes I have to understand, some people really don't know. Some people do know, and they're just trying to test you. But you don't want to get somebody who's trying to test you. You want somebody that already respects you, because respect is big as well. Mm-hmm. So if they respect you, they're not going to play games like that with you,
Yeah. So, like Andrea and Jerome was saying, and mind you guys, these are not a couple. These are just giving the woman's perspective on things in her 30s and the male's perspective on things in his 20s. So, we're going to tie it. Don't go away, because we're getting to some juicy more topics and relationships. So sit tight, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's got to come home with me. Not anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
Hey, boss. Okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
You sure?
I said I'm fine.
Since I was little, it was only like me and my parents.
You think you created family out of characters?
Yeah, of course.
I'm gonna take that, make it into a song.
Put me to bed, see you in the morning. With the frosted Superman, but it wasn't on it. And we lost it. In my head, in my head, in my head. Where you at, where you at on the way out? In my head, in my head, in my head.
Hey, son.
Hey, Pop.
You can talk to me.
It's been really, really hard for me.
So we're back, and we're going to talk about 3 other topics. So first one is values. So what about values? Values in a relationship.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Because we all grow up, right, with values that our parents then installed in us, you know, or our church or whomever, you know, and we grow up with different type of values and different, you know, relationships. And then we create our own values as we get older. So what if someone else have different values than you? You know, and so how do you work that? Do you still move forward in the relationship? Do you say, okay, they're not thinking like I'm thinking? Because a lot of times when you come to values, if you get serious in a relationship and go forward, and then maybe later on children are involved, you know, you might have one set of parenting style and somebody else may have another, you know, or, you know, something like that. So what do you guys think about values? How important is that in a relationship?
I think it depends on the values. It depends on the situation, because there are certain things that you can, he or she believes in this, or he or she believes in that, but you can still come together and be a unit. But there are certain things like religion and stuff like that where it might be a little iffy. So it just depends on the value and depends on the situation. You can't really, you got to see, can I deal with it or can I not?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say the old-fashioned term, courting. I think that, like, courting is important. In our day, it's just called, like, the talking stage. That's what we like to call it. But, like, I think that stage is important because you definitely want to see what you're working with.
Right.
You got to see if the person even like kids. It's a lot of stuff you got to think about.
Yeah.
So just really having that talk,
Yeah.
learning them.
And what about love? What about, because first of all, you have to really, really love yourself before you can actually love somebody else. If you're so in love with somebody else and just say, you know, forget me and forget how I'm feeling and focus all of your energy and all of your, you know, whatever on that person and forget about yourself, sometimes it's unbalanced, you know. So what about love, guys?
Like you said, love, if you're not loving yourself and you're not putting that same energy into yourself, then you're no good for anybody. You're no good for your partner. You're no good for your children. You're no good for anybody. You have to love yourself and put yourself first. So, like you said, before you can love another human being, you have to make sure you love yourself first and take care of yourself first. So, love is like a come and go. It takes some time for love. That's not something you just jump into.
Yeah.
You can care a lot about a person.
Right.
But that does not mean that you are or that you love that person or are in love, because that's two different things also.
Right.
You got to make sure too, like, love is not lust. That gets people caught all the time. Oh, I love this person. You like the way they feel, but you don't.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think it's just one of them things you got to be careful, because people get it confused.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a strong word.
Yeah.
It really is. It's strong, right?
And then we talk about getting what you want, and not just what you need. I think we kind of touched base on that a little bit earlier. So how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I'm a big believer in getting what you want, because getting what you want is important, because it's like, it kind of goes into like the talking stage thing again. Like, you have to, when you talking to somebody, learn them instead of just trying to be intimate with them. Learn them and see if that's even what you want. Because then if you know, it help a lot better. Okay, because I think a lot of times people are with people that they need and not what they want.
Right.
It could be financial. It could be, and this is why infidelity creeps in, cheating and all this different stuff.
Yeah. So, go ahead, Andrea.
I'm kind of on the fence though, because sometimes you need. So I personally think that I need somebody that's on my intelligent level, or somebody that's a little bit smarter, so that I can learn from you, or we can build off of each other, we can motivate each other.
Yeah.
So that's what the need is for me. So I think I'm more of a needs person. What can I grasp from you? What can you grasp from me? What can we learn from each other? What can we teach each other? How can we grow and build, with that need?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that actually is very true though.
Yeah.
Because like you do want to have some differences so that y'all can learn off each other. It just can't be usury. Because then that's when it's kind of like, oh, I just like him or I like her because of this.
Right.
So I do agree with that, because you do want somebody who's doing better, at least.
Yeah.
And
absolutely, like Andrea said, you want somebody that's gonna try to help you grow, somebody who's gonna motivate you, to move forward, to want to do better, right?
Right.
And so so that kind of ties into intimacy too. So I think we're gonna be tied into intimacy when we come back, right? So we got one more segment, so sit tight, people, and then we'll be back to talk about intimacy and religion and God.
STEM is the discipline of hard numbers, precise, no margin for error.
Dare to forget that. Dare to have fun with it. Get weird with it. Dare to get messy, or just mess it up. Dare to program something internet-breaking, record-breaking. Dare to blow their minds. Dare to try. Dare to fail. Dare to keep daring. Dare to learn the difference between organic, sedimentary, and non-foliated metamorphic rock. Get outside, find those rocks. Dare to be homeroom famous, a high school fable. Dare to send those old STEM theories flying past the neighbor's house into outer space. And for the love of STEM, dare bigger. Dare to code, dare to invent, dare to explore, dare to STEM. Check out She Can STEM to get started.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
We're back again. So we're going to talk a little bit about intimacy. So I want to just take a few minutes again to say I have my guests, Jerome and Andrea, and they're going to, Jerome is giving us a male perspective on things. He's in his 20s, and Andrea's giving us a woman's perspective on things. She's in her 30s. And so we already covered a couple of topics in relationships that's important. So we're going to go to intimacy. So what do you guys think? How important is intimacy in a relationship?
Intimacy is very important, but it doesn't have to be the intimacy that everybody thinks of when they think of the word intimacy. Intimacy could be being held. Intimacy could be somebody telling you that they care about you, or how was your day, or that is also intimacy in my eyes. That's what I look more for, is that type of intimacy.
Right.
I would say learn each other's love language.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, because you could see, like she said, you could see how they want to be held, what bothers them, how, feel, touch, all of that.
Yeah, because some people grow up touchy-feely, and some people grow up, and they're not touchy-feely, So, and sometimes is I remember my personal life. My mother, she was every time you turn around, she was hugging, kissing, blah blah blah. But my father, you knew he loved you, but it was just like, okay, I love you. Yeah, I love you too. You know what I mean? But but he wasn't really touchy-feely like that. It was, so, people, like I said, and they learn, from their environment or past relationships, and, then that's how they end up being. So,
Right.
So it is important. So, God, or a spiritual relationship. How important is that in your relationship?
Very important.
Yeah.
I have to agree.
Very important.
Very important.
Yeah.
You could, especially if kids involved, very important, because you may want to raise them a certain way.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want to do another way. That's going to create conflict in the household.
Yeah.
But that's where communication comes in.
Talking stage.
Communication.
Right.
Communication.
Yeah. So, if you want to, when you in the dating pool that you guys are in, and you want to find a mate or a significant other, you want to kind of look at, again, if you're a believer and they're a believer, you want to kind of make sure, okay, we're on the same page, So because then that way you're in harmony, right?
Right.
Yeah.
With each other. So, that's very, very, very important. So I just want to take a little bit of time to talk to Jay West. And so, Jay, tell me a little bit about what you do.
So I am an upcoming music artist. I do acting, modeling, I dance, I do the whole nine. I'm into the entertainment business, and I really have a serious passion for it. I've been doing it for so long. I'm the independent route right now, but I'd rather take that than somebody kind of trying to control me and change my ideas. I feel like in this game you have to be real creative, and sometimes you can't be creative with certain people above you.
Yeah.
So sometimes independent is the best way to go. But other than that, that's pretty much.
How can people get in touch with you?
You can follow my Instagram, which is JayWestX. On Facebook is Jerome. Stay blessed, Woodard. And on, I forgot my other site.
Instagram.
I already said my Instagram.
Okay.
I already forgot.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Andrea, tell me about what you're up to.
I am a single mom, hardworking mom, a violinist. I sing a little bit. All-around musician, just creative mind state. And I am on Facebook, Andrea Lane on Facebook. My Instagram is Drea, Baby with an I 88.
Okay. So I want to thank you guys, Andrea and Jerome, for coming on the show. And this segment was called Relationships. It was very, very good, y'all. So I'm also on YouTube. So if you don't get channel 1302, you can watch it on YouTube under the Ask the Counselor show. I'm Counselor Ms. V, and we will see you next time. Thank you.